Greetings, Inspiry fam. Angie Roll here, the founder of Love Inspiry, and welcome to Vow Triumph, where we break down the marriage vows in their entirety and what they truly mean. This series is for single people, engaged people, and even married people to help you fully understand what it is you're saying when you decide to take that plunge and jump over the broom and get married. Stick around for today's episode as we talk about the words to have and to hold. We are going to break those words down in its entirety and help you understand how it's a setup for the future vows you will say after that. Stick around if you want triumph in your vows.
To be my wedded wife,
To be my wedded husband,
to have,
to hold,
from this day forward, for better
or worse,
for richer,
or poorer,
in sickness,
and in health,
till death do us
part, according to God's holy ordinance. I pledge thee my faith and myself to you. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of Vow Triumph, to have and to hold. Remember when you were a child and you were learning the Pledge of Allegiance, the Lord's Prayer? You really had no idea what it is you were saying. You were just told to say it and you memorized it. It's kind of the same way with the marriage vows. A lot of people say words and phrases without the true meaning behind knowing what it is that they're actually saying. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the words to have and to hold. And I want people to truly understand that this is a setup for the from this day forward, for sickness and in health, till death do us part, for richer, for poorer. All of that comes from to have and to hold. Until we fully understand what to have and to hold means, we won't be able to maintain and sustain the vows after that. So I want to break down the words to have first. Google is everybody's best friend, right? I know it's mine. If you look up the word have on Google, you'll see that it'll say possess and own. I think about when you buy a brand new car at the dealership and you get this warranty on it, right? You're supposed to take it back if something goes wrong, miles, you get so many free things, you may get a free tire rotation, things of that sort. Same thing happens in your marriage. You have a warranty on your partner when you get married. The only difference is death is the time expiration on it. Not 48 months, not 36 months, not whatever it is. I don't really know. But you have a warranty on your spouse and it's up when they die or when you die. And when I think of the word have, I think of accountability. You own. You need to take ownership for your spouse, for your significant other. This means taking ownership and accountability of their feelings. When they feel something, you feel it. The Bible says the twain becomes one flesh. That means you are one. When you unite as a married couple, you develop a kinship of being one person, taking on their feelings, being kind, being accepting, being compassionate. Also being accountable for their burdens. A lot of the times you may go through some grief, or you may go through something to where you have to bear the burden of your spouse, of your wife or your husband. And the Bible also tells that in Galatians, we are to bear one another's burdens. Also talking about treatment. You are accountable for how you treat your spouse. That's to include loyalty, being respectful, having the ability to grow with them, being trustworthy, being honest, all the foundational principles it takes to sustain even not just a marriage, but a relationship in general. And then not only do you have to be accountable for your partner, you have to be accountable for yourself to possess these qualities within yourself. If you don't have the quality of being loyal to your partner, wanting to bear their burdens, wanting to bear their feelings, you are not ready to get into a relationship, into a marriage, because that's what it's all about. To have is going to set you up to be there for them, to be accountable for them when they may make poor financial decisions, or a worse part comes in your relationship to where you're going to need to hold them accountable, and vice versa. When you are taking the pledge and your vows, you are taking accountability for all these things. You are taking accountability to be there through money issues. accountability to be there through infidelity, accountability to be there through bad decisions, accountability once you get married. Like I say, you are liable for this person. You are responsible for the success of your relationship. You are responsible to bear their burdens. When I was 18 years old, I was very dark and twisty, as they say on Grey's Anatomy. No, but I was really affected by certain things that have happened in my life growing up, and my husband knew about these things, and on July 29th, 2006, when he decided to say I do, he took on the role of bearing my burdens and understanding my feelings as his wife. He did that by being compassionate towards me, giving advice when I needed it. You know, he grew up in a two-parent household where I didn't. And so there was a different connect, a different understanding that he had that I didn't necessarily have. And it definitely made us closer. It made us stronger as a couple, and we were able to grow together. There may come a time in your marriage where you may be faced with something traumatic, or somebody may pass away in the family, and you may need your spouse to be there for you. So think about it on there, and you need to be there for your spouse as well, going through whatever it is that comes up. Make sure that you are accountable, responsible, reliable. You're taking ownership for what is coming up and what will come up or possibly come up in the future. And that brings me into my next point, to hold. So for hold, I low-key wanted to just bust out and start singing Bow Wow and Omarion song, Let Me Hold You Down. But this is very serious. I want y'all to get something out of this, and I know y'all did not come here to hear moi sing. So, hold, it means to carry and support, and it is one of my favorite things to talk about in a relationship. You need to be a supportive spouse, and you need to have a supportive spouse. You cannot sustain a relationship without support. What happens when somebody gets sick in your relationship, as you'll see in a later episode? You have to be there to what? Support them. What happens when your finances run dry, or you're having going through a phase of financial stress? You have to be supportive to one another. What happens when worse comes? Maybe somebody is going through, like I mentioned earlier, grief in their family, or whatever the case may be. You have to be supportive. Support is probably one of the number one things you need to have in your relationship. That includes supporting thoughts, supporting ideas, supporting opinions, decisions. And I said this last week, and I'll say it again. You do not have to agree with somebody or something to give support to them. A lot of the times in our head, we'll think an idea is bad. It's terrible. This is not going to work. What are you thinking? You are stupid. You can't possibly think that this is going to work. Trust me, I have been there before. But this is where encouragement and empowerment comes into place. Those two things that you are to give to your spouse. When I was a young wife, I said this in the To Be My Wedded Wife video, I could be very contentious. I could not, my approach could not be very friendly at times. But I learned over time that support is something that you have to grow into. Support is something that you have to master. Even because a lot of times, like I said, we can think in our head, this is not going to work. But at the end of the day, who the heck are we? We aren't God. What do we don't know what God told our significant other that they should do that we think is stupid. We have no idea if it's going to work out or not. So it just behooves us to support them, empower them, encourage them. At the end of the day, you are a team. If they win, you win. You should not want to see the downfall of your husband or your wife. You should be there, their number one fan, rooting for them, cheering for them to make it, supporting their decisions and their ideas or whatever the case may be. And then, here's the thing, the carry part that we're talking about. And then, let's say the idea fails. Okay, it fails. Don't be the person to say, I told you so, or I knew that wasn't going to work out. Yeah, done that too. That's why I'm telling you not to do it. Carry that person. Be there. Support. To lift them up. Encourage them to try another route, to go a different way. Help them. That's the key word. Help them get to where they want to be, where they desire to be, and where they need to be. It is so important that you understand being supportive and what support truly entails. Like I said, it does not mean you necessarily agree with that person. It just means you're going to be there to help them get to where they need to be and where they want to be. Another thing I want to talk about with the word carry is understand that when you carry somebody, you are being their backbone. Remember earlier when I said we are to bear one another's burdens? That was in the Bible, so it's not just something that I said. But remember when I said that? Yeah, this is that. And you bear people's burdens in the sense of carrying them and being their backbone by allowing them to vent to you when they need to vent, doing extra around the house when they need help, coping with whatever it is that is wrong. And then also, sometimes a person may not come to you. And as a partner, it is your job to recognize everything about your partner. This includes when they aren't acting themselves, when they are down about something. My husband and I have a very different kind of relationship. He literally consents when something is wrong with me. I can be as happy-go-lucky as I want to be, and I can perform and act, go for that Oscar and everything, and he can still know when something is wrong with me. He is being accountable. Remember what we talked about earlier? Accountable for my feelings, recognizing when something is wrong with me so we can have that conversation, so he can be my backbone. Your partner may not always come to you with something, but it is your job to recognize when something is wrong with them. That's a part of carrying. That's a part of supporting, being concerned for your partner, checking in, asking them what's wrong, and knowing when to ask. In my closing, I want people to truly understand that your vows to have and to hold sets the precedent from this day forward, in sickness and in health, for rich or for poor, for better or worse. This is the beginning. Accountability and support. Like I said, there will be trials and tribulations in your marriage. Do not let anybody fool you that there won't. However, understanding the vow to have will help you realize that as a partner, you are accountable for this person you marry. You are responsible for how you treat them in their feelings. You are liable for the success of your relationship. And also, understanding to hold will help you realize that you need to be able to support this person. You need to have their back. You need to let them know that you have them. You're going to hold them down whether they fail or whether they win. If you are not willing to do these things plus some more, because I didn't even go through what I could have went through just for the sake of time, you are not equipped to get married and to sustain a marriage. And you are not equipped to say your marriage vows with conviction and true meaning behind them. This is what marriage is: merging two individuals together as one, accountability for one another, and supporting one another. Because to have and to hold sets the stage for the future vows, you will hear me use the words accountability and support going forward. I hope that you learned something from to have and to hold. I hope that if you're single or engaged, you are preparing and understanding your vows, understanding that you need to be there to support your significant other through no matter what. Understanding that you need to be accountable for their feelings and how you treat them, and also accountable for your own self and possessing the qualities for your own self that you need to, or that the relationship needs to be successful. So please stick around with me if you want triumph in your vows next week as we talk about from this day forward. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed.